Let's quickly dissect question number 4. I selected question number 4 because it has a lot of technicalities, and I want you to know the examiner's mind when questions of like nature visit you. If you're preparing for 2026 JAMB Physics, you need to understand the technicalities behind this question. So I'm not going to show you the answer only. I am going to dissect the question and review to you the examiner's mind. The question reads, the density of water is 1 gram per cubic centimeter. When you hear them saying water, they are talking about the liquid. So liquid water is referred to water in exams, while that of ice is 0.9 grams per cubic centimeter. Calculate the change in volume when 90 grams of ice completely melts. So what is the examiner looking for here? The examiner wants you to understand that the volume of ice is greater than the volume of water. When you put a container full of water into a freezer, it may explode once it freezes or deform. That shows you the ice is seeking to expand and get more volume than water. Therefore, the volume of ice formed is bigger than the volume of water, though the mass is still the same. Now, how are we going to calculate the change? We are going to say change in volume is equals to volume of ice, since it takes up a bigger volume, minus volume of water, since it takes up a smaller volume. So let's quickly find the volume which was occupied by the ice before melting and the volume which will be occupied by water after melting. Then we get the difference to find the change in volume. So we can now safely say density, which has a symbol rho, is equal to mass, which has a symbol m, divided by volume, which has a symbol v. So this equation can be written in symbols as density is equals to mass over volume. But we are interested in volumes according to this question. So we need to make volume subject of formula, and we are going to say volume is equals to mass over density. So first, let's find the volume of ice. So volume of ice is equals to mass of ice divided by density of ice. What is the mass of ice? 90 grams of ice. So we have 90 grams over, what is the density of ice? Density of ice is 0.9 grams per cubic centimeter, which is going to give us 100 cubic centimeter. So the ice will be occupying 100 cubic centimeters. Now we go to volume of water. Volume of water is equal to mass of water divided by density of water. What is the mass of water? We will see that the mass of water is the same as the mass of ice. Why? Mass is the amount of matter in an object. It's only freezing, but the amount of matter is remaining the same. So the mass will be 90 grams over, what is the density of water? 1 gram per cubic centimeter. 1 gram per cubic centimeter. And this is going to give us 90 cubic centimeter. So we said change in volume is equals to volume of ice minus volume of water, which is equals to volume of ice 100 cubic centimeters minus volume of water 90 cubic centimeters, giving us 10 cubic centimeters. 10 cubic centimeters, we find that the answer which was required by the examiner was D. So you select your answer. This was one of the most challenging questions between question 1 and 10. And remember, in this video, I'm only focusing on the most challenging questions between question 1 and 10. So let's quickly move on to the next question, which I deemed challenging. It's on question number 6. Question number 6 was selected because it had a lot of technicalities as well, and it required to link up 3 topics to get the correct answer. So let me quickly dissect question number 6. According to the kinetic theory of gases, the pressure exerted by a gas on the walls equals. Item A says momentum imparted to the walls per unit area. This is wrong. Change in momentum per unit volume. This is very wrong. Change in momentum imparted to the walls per unit area. This is wrong. The rate of change of momentum imparted to the walls per second per unit area. This is the correct answer. So in other words, the examiner expected us to select D. Remember, my main objective is not to give you the correct answer, but to dissect the question with you so that you understand the dynamics behind the question and what the examiner expects of you when they are setting up a question. Why are we saying the answer is D and not A, not B, and not C? So the first thing we need to understand is we are talking about pressure exerted. So the first topic or the first definition you need to recall is the definition of pressure. So pressure is force per unit area. Pressure is force per unit area. And equation wise, it's F divided by A is equals to P. Now, if we look at the 4 answers, this one has momentum, this one has momentum, this one has momentum, this one has momentum. So how do we link pressure with momentum? It will take us to the second topic which was needed for this particular question. And the second topic was Newton's second law. According to Newton's second law, a force can be defined as the rate of change of momentum. How does Newton's second law define a force as the rate of change of momentum? So Newton's second law says the net force acting upon an object is equals to mass of the object times its acceleration. But in kinematics, we know that acceleration is equals to final velocity minus initial velocity over time taken. So when there is A, we can put V minus U over T. So we can now safely say M times V minus U over T. Let's open the brackets by expanding the numerator. We are going to have mv minus mu over delta t. Delta t is change in time. Now, we need now to go to the third concept which was required here. That's why I selected question number 6. It had 3 concepts which were supposed to be linked seamlessly. So the third concept is defining momentum. So we know that momentum P is equals to mass of an object times its velocity. Mass of an object times its velocity. So this is final momentum because it's mass times final velocity, which is final momentum. This is initial momentum because it's mass times initial velocity. Therefore, we can safely say mv minus mu is equals to change in momentum. Hence, we can write here change in momentum over change in time is equal to the force. That's why we're saying Newton's second law defines a force as the rate of change of momentum. Once we have found this, we want to get rid of the force in this equation. Why? Because there is no force in the 4 selections. So we are going to take this expression for a force and plug it in where there is a force, where in this equation. So we can now safely say P is equals to, instead of writing force, we write change in momentum divided by change in time. So this is change in momentum divided by change in time divided by this area which was already there divided by area. Now this definition now is the same as D, which reads it is the rate of change of momentum imparted to the walls per second per unit time per unit area. Pressure is equals to change in momentum per unit time per unit area according to D. With this, I hope you have been helped. If questions of like nature happens to visit you if you're taking the next JAMB session. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe for more dissections like this. So let me quickly go to the last selection in this range. Remember, in this video, I'm focusing on the most challenging questions between question 1 and 10 from the 2025 JAMB Physics paper. So the next question was question number 9. Question number 9 reads, the thermometric property of mercury is based on the change in. The key phrase here is thermometric property. We need to reason around the thermometric properties. Now, this is thermometric property of mercury. Now, remember, mercury is used as a working liquid in what? Liquid in glass thermometers. So mercury is the working liquid in glass thermometers. So they are saying, what is the thermometric property of mercury which is best in this particular application? So number 1 says density, which is wrong. Part B says volume. Volume is the correct answer. We are expected to select volume. Remember, I'm not just here to give you answers. I want you to understand the dynamics behind the selection of a correct answer, so that you have the examiner's thoughts when you're making your presentation. So why are we saying it's volume? Now you need to understand this. Mercury is used because its volume changes significantly with temperature. Mercury is the only metal which is liquid at room temperature. So it is used as a working liquid in glass thermometers. Like any other metal, mercury expands when heated. So when the temperature increases, the volume of mercury increases. And this is the property we are going to use to measure temperature. How? Let me demonstrate using this liquid in glass thermometer. So I have a liquid in glass thermometer here. My mercury column is the one represented by the black part. So when heat is supplied, mercury, like any other liquid, is going to expand. And it expands, it will begin to seek more space, and we start seeing the liquid column moving upwards. Then we say temperature is increasing. But what is indicating an increase in temperature is the more volume being occupied by the mercury. It's moving upward to occupy a bigger volume, showing that it is expanding, thereby increasing in volume. When the temperature decreases, it will move in the opposite direction, it will move downwards. Why? It's contracting and the volume is reducing. So the thermometric property is the linear change in volume with the temperature. That's how we ended up selecting B, discarding A, C, and D. I hope you have been helped and you are preparing well for your next JAMB session. Hoping to see you in the next video. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss these dissections I'll be bringing to you as you prepare for your JAMB Physics 2026. Wishing you all the best.